Hi everyone and welcome to the Recruitment Brothers podcast. With an age gap of 17 years and two heavy Swedish accents, we're here to cover everything about, yeah, you guessed it right, recruitment.
And now over to the older brother Rickard. Welcome to our podcast. Although recruitment is our focus, we will also talk about sports, business development and leadership. And we will invite some inspiring guests. Let's get straight into it.
Hello everyone and welcome back to the Recruitment Brothers podcast. If I'm not mistaken, it's the 8th episode today, so really looking forward to it. How are you today, Rickard?
All good. I've been at the beach in Malaga today in November, so that is super nice.
Nice. How long are you going to be there for?
Only a week.
Oh, nice. Cool. But before we get into today's topic, which is going to be how to grow internally in your company, we're going to do what we always do. So, Rickard, what has been new since the last episode?
I have turned 42. I have booked a trip to Suriname as a birthday gift to myself, and maybe I got a bit inspired from Demis. Work-wise, we have also started to do some changes already now for next year. We are prepping the preseason for 2026, and we have merged actually our IT team into the Worldwiders team because we had two brands. We had the Worldwiders and we had the IT Jobs Worldwide brand, but we decided to merge to be a bigger team, also get a bit of diversity into the team and also sharing clients that we can deliver now wider as well with technical roles, but we can also then do commercial roles with the tech clients and vice versa, and also that the recruiters then can work in different fields and different specializations. So I hope this will be a good change for 2026.
I'm sure it will be, since I'm also, seeing the effect of it and started to working with some of those colleagues.
Yeah.
So, no, it's going to be nice. And like you say, it's not that we will stop recruiting for IT positions. It's more to get everyone with more tools in the box, basically.
Yeah.
So really fun.
Yeah, that's super nice. And you? What is the latest things?
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun things. It's gotten darker in Barcelona. I can notice that we took back the clock. I think it's 5:30 here now, and it's almost already getting dark. So that's that's something we're used to though as Swedes. So it's not going to be too much of an issue. No, but work-wise, it's a little bit like we spoke about with Demis. We've had a big focus in recruiting in Latin America for one of our clients. It's been a really fun, challenging project also with, completely different time zone. But we're starting to see the harvest of the fruit, so to say, with a lot of confirmed hires already for places like Uruguay, a new country we never recruited for again. So we can tick that off the map. Brazil also, actually, the first hires, and multiple cities in Brazil, Mexico, Chile. We're doing right now also in Ecuador, Guatemala. So it's really, really fun to work in this part of the world. And now we're going to ramp up again on home territory here in Europe with, I think it's going to be a very hectic period, but in a positive way. I've heard rumors about 100 plus headcounts that need to be closed here before New Year. So we will have a lot to do.
Smart then that we merged with the team so we'll get more resources that can support.
Exactly. The timing on that merge is more than welcome for me at least. So it's going to be fun. And also a brilliant moment when it is these busy periods to also, teach colleagues on these roles, because we will have enough roles for everyone to work on to grow their skill sets, which will also be what we're going to speak about in this episode, right? How to grow internally. So we're actually in a perfect moment for that. So yeah, it's going to be great. But Rickard, the topic of today, internal growth and career growth. Why do you think it's a relevant topic to create an episode about?
Maybe a bit unpopular opinion, my own, but we have touched on it before as well. I think to have the why, for example, you should or would have a promotion or a growth, and maybe why also today people are a bit impatient. They maybe feel that they have fulfilled something or they approved something like in, 4, 6, 8 months, and that they deserve a promotion. And I think that that is not always the easiest to give, and it's maybe more things you are looking for in a person before you make a decision. And I think that then maybe people get a bit impatient and they maybe jump to the next adventure instead of maybe staying another 4 to 6 months and see how your career can grow within the company you're in. So I think it's a very relevant topic, and also then maybe get some insights as well, how we work in our company, how we look at this, from our different angles. We have 17 years apart. Yeah, but also see like the values of maybe staying in a company for some time, but also the value of what kind of company you are joining, how you should think.
Yeah.
But that is my takeouts. What is
Mm.
your takeouts hearing
No,
this?
of course, I come from a different sort of generation where maybe I can agree. I don't know if I would call it impatient, but things are moving a lot faster. And I mean, it's not only negative, because if people were only staying with the same job forever, we wouldn't have something to recruit for. So in one sense, it's good. No, at the same time, I know what you mean with today's climate. I think we discussed on it in early episodes as well, that everything goes so fast today and that people are always on the lookout. You're exposed to a lot of opportunities, and you see social media and people seem to have it better, and the grass is not always greener on the other side. I think that will be one of my takeouts from this episode. But I think also us as a company, like you mentioned, I think that could be an interesting thing to touch on, how we do it, how we internally have our career paths, and the people we have who can be perfect examples of that. Because it's true that 90% of the managers we have internally have grown into that position from sort of like a entry position, and sometimes also without any experience at all. Maybe you can elaborate a little bit on that, how our career path is looking internally as a company.
And that's also maybe a bit about the patience, because sometimes it takes time to prove yourself, and not only for someone else, but also for yourself. Because doing something one time doesn't say that you are an expert. You maybe need to do it over and over again a few times to be more comfortable in what you're doing, maybe comfortable of teaching others, or maybe, taking into take this knowledge into conversation with clients or potential suppliers. So there's many things you learn that you use also then when you are taking the next steps. And I think that, for example, if I look at a manager today, like first of all, of course, you want to see a performance from that person over time. You don't need to be the top biller, but you need to have some kind of consistency in what you are doing and that you have performed over time. So you see that this was not only 1 month based on a short motivation. And then, of course, over time, you also want to see if someone is reliable. I think that is important to see that, yeah, but you can trust this person. I think the trust part, and I think also trust can be built up on situations that happens where we are maybe not agreeing, or we see things in a different way, but you find a middle ground or something, or you agree to disagree and you kind of move on that, and you respect each other's opinions. And then, for example, okay, Martin react in this way if I say or do this. So maybe I need to work with him in a different way. And then we build a trust. And I think when the trust is built up, is also when people start to collaborate better. And it also then helps people to grow, and like within companies and teams and organizations and so on. And that also leads then to career paths and journeys. So I think that is important. And that is my feeling. I'm not sure
Yeah.
how you feel.
No, but it's interesting because I'm also leading people today, and I've seen people grow into new roles, but you're in a completely different situation there. So that's why I wanted to ask, because I think it's interesting how, for example, internally, we have people who have started as entry-level recruiters and have showed these traits like you explained, and today they are either partners in the company or they are working in head-off positions. So, and those journeys can also look very differently. But is there anything you would say is like a common pattern of the people who have made the journey internally for us?
I think it's connected to all the three things I said, but I think the most important one is the trust part. Anyway, for me, it's, for example, Nordic Jobs Worldwide is my baby, the company name, and then we have all the different brands. And I think like who are you willing to give away your baby to
Yeah.
babysit, for example? And I think that is more built on trust. It's not like the one that runs the fastest or have the nicest car, or it's more like a person you trust. And I think those people that are in those leading positions today is people we have built trust with over the years. And of course, there is a performance as well behind the growth, but it's not the top pillars. I think, like,
Yeah.
you are also very into football. If you look at football managers today, it's not the strikers that are
No,
the coaches on the highest level.
exactly. That's right. That it's not always the top seller or the top billing recruiter who is gonna make the best manager, if we speak about just the position as a manager of now. But it's like you say, also in sports and football, it's often the, at least today, the CDM, the central midfielder who reads and controls the play, that also becomes the manager in the end. So you can see, for example, Pep Guardiola, you have Xabi Alonso, you have Mikel Arteta, all of them who played as sort of like a pivote, they call it in Spain, where they have of course, they are top performers, but it's not necessarily the one who has the most assists, the most goals, the most dribbles. It's the person who kind of controls the tempo of the play.
And they support the attackers and they
Yeah.
support the defense. So they are somewhere in between, the
Mm.
link.
Exactly, exactly. You don't see it today, like Zlatan Ibrahimovic or Sergio Aguero or Fernando Torres. You don't see these type of goal scoring machines as managers or coaches. So it must be something behind it, and also connected to business.
Yeah, and maybe in their personality, for example, I know Zlatan is some technical advisor in Milan. Maybe it's a better fit based on
Mm,
his personality, and he's a goal scorer, so he's kind of having another kind of behavior, and then also then brings different kind of skills to AC Milan. But the one that is leading the team on a daily basis and being empathic and seeing the tactical needs and how you should build the
mm,
team between defense and offense, it's maybe not always it's maybe not the striker. And you have
mm,
many of them, like you said, midfielders. If you look at it, Patrick Vieira have been a coach, Didier Deschamps, France was a midfielder, Zidane,
mm.
Real Madrid. It's many
Yeah,
of them.
true, true. There is one exception though to this rule that I can think of,
Yeah.
and that's you, Rickard.
Yeah, exactly.
At least in the early days, you were a goal scoring machine in the sport bandy.
Yeah.
And today, leading the national team in Norway, of course, you have transitioned into other positions as well. I know at least
Yeah.
your last years in Norway. But if we stay on the topic of sports for the moment, because that's also a part of like a career progression and a career journey that you have made. But in bandy, why do you think you have gotten that trust that you speak about when it comes to managing a national team in this sport?
I think it's connected to what we have talked about in the past also, that you are in different roles in different stages of your life. And I think I understood when I was maybe 25, 26 that I will never be on the highest level in Sweden. I will always be like, just one level under. So when I
Mm,
took the move to Norway, I become like a player manager. And in that player manager role, I started also then to, how do you say, put more energy on the people around me. It was more
mm,
important for me that other people in the team performed instead of myself. So of course I wanted to make a difference on the field, but it was not the most important to put myself in front all the time. And I think that was when my biggest change started. And also then in the same time I also started in the recruitment business as a sales
mm,
manager, but I was selling and I was leading a team. So I was leading in sports and I was leading in work. I think that was the biggest change. And then starting to learn like all those different things. Like I said, I started to feel more like a central midfielder after being an attacker. Then I was almost in the defense. And at some point I was coaching from the side. And I think this kind of threats as a person, because I was coaching one team in Norway for 6 years. And I
mm.
think I proved the same leadership skills all over those years, that I was fair, but I also had my norms and rules of how I wanted things to be. And you could see the progression of the team for over 6 years, going from being the worst in the league to win the first national championship for 88 years for that club. And after that, wanting a new challenge. So I started in a new club that was newcomers in the league, and I took them to 3 semifinals with the same threats and the same behaviors, and maybe showing that trust.
Yep.
And then when the national team wanted something new and fresh, they saw what I had been doing for 9 years in 2 different clubs. And also maybe that I had a professional career on the side that was matching what they were looking for. And I think that's why I got the chance, and now have also stayed for 5 years, because it have also been something in Norwegian bandy. The national team coach have more or less left after 1, maximum 2 seasons.
Yep.
But I have stayed for 5 years, and maybe because I believe in the long-term progress as well now in performance. So yeah, I hope that was a good answer.
It was. It's interesting that, you kind of changed clubs frequently. And then once you started to settle more and do it long term, like 2 clubs over 9 years, that I would say is long term. And, having that patience that we speak about in this episode, then the good things come. So I think that's also living proof of it. So very interesting.
Yeah. And I think, like, for example, imagine that we would have done super good results the first year I was coaching, and then I was starting to think like, oh, but I could coach the national team, and why are they not selecting me? And I think that kind of reliability, and that they have seen that you have been doing this over time, and maybe you start to get to know people more in the federation over 9 years. It takes time to build relationship in other clubs as well. And I think maybe that was one part of it as well. In the first year, I was totally new and I didn't know someone. So I needed to build up my network as well over time, and prove myself and show who I was as a person on the pitch, but also on the side. I know you also had a different career jump fast. So that maybe goes back a bit to if you are impatient or if you are proving yourself fast, like you have been doing. You have been on a few journeys already as a young star, still growing.
Oh, absolutely. I don't know what to say about my journey. Yeah, I was gonna suggest be the brother of a CEO. That's the easiest way to career growth. But I guess, of course, there is some truth to that. But like you said, I also had a work journey in Cyprus during my time there. Where I don't think it was because of patience, because I got the promotion after 3 months already.
What do you think that was the reason behind that? Because that was 3 months. Like now I talk about national team, it was 9 years. This was 3 months. What do you think was the reason behind that?
No, but I think like it's based on different things. Of course, I did a good performance, so everything starts with that. I was very quick to learn the job. I'm very curious as a person, so I'm not the person to sit around, and if I don't know something, I find out about it. I terrorize my colleagues often with questions to soak up information as a sponge almost. So of course performance is one reason to it, but then also the company itself. And that's something that I think everyone who is planning for their career should really think about. That I understand also that people want to work for big brands, to have a SP 500 logo on your CV so that you can show that to future employers and so on. But it's not always the largest company and the biggest name that is going to lead to the best opportunities. And this is something I suggest to assess already in the start when you apply for a job. Like, okay, the managers working there today, have they been promoted or have they been recruited externally? That's one thing that says a lot. What is the size of the company? Is it going to be a lot of competition for me to grow into new roles? So these are things that I always would suggest to assess. Of course, at some large companies, there are going to be very clear career paths as well. But these spontaneous opportunities, like it was for my case in Cyprus after 3 months, it was very spontaneous. I started off in customer service, like my first office job, very entry level. I was very young, but then already after 3 months and I had shown great performance, it was email sent out to our organization saying that now they have a vacancy for account manager. So B2B account manager on the Swedish market. I don't think people normally would apply when you are 3 months into the job and you are 19 years old and you just arrived there. But I think I was completely unafraid. I was just, yeah, of course, I'm going to apply for it. So I applied internally for the position. I went to sort of like an interview round where I was just in an honest way saying that I'm ready to do this, and I know about the expectations, but I'm ready to do it. I think I've shown a great start here to the company, and I can for sure, bring something to the table. So I was very like persistent and had a lot of confidence in myself, even though I've already been there for 3 months. And then I took that account management position and I stayed there, and I had no expectations whatsoever to like grow fast from that. It was not like I was like, okay, after another 3 months, what's the next step? No, I understood kind of that, okay, I've gotten this opportunity. I'm very thankful for it. I'm going to show that I'm a hard worker. I'm great at what I do. So I stayed there then for another 1.5 years as an account manager without any expectations. And then when it was time for me to take the next step, then I went back to Sweden to study actually. Then they even told me that, no, but Martin, let's find a solution where you can work within marketing, because I had plans to study marketing, for example. And that also showed that, because of that loyalty and patience that I had and the hard work that I put in, I don't need to come and ask for a promotion. They wanted to work something out for me.
Mm.
And that was kind of when I learned about that patience and hard work without expectation. Like, not that you put in hard work to expect that you're going to get fast results. That's actually something that will give you results in the end.
Yeah. So you proved yourself in maybe then the both areas, the performance part, but also you as a person, and they got to know you, so they wanted to keep you as well for the long term.
Yeah, exactly. And then of course, Worldwiders, it's been a different path. I've done a path, of course, but it's been a bit different. I did the internship first in marketing, but it's more been like cross-functional changes that I've done, starting in marketing and then doing business development and then jumping on recruitment after maybe 1.5 years. So I didn't do recruitment to begin with. So it was very different.
How is it then to be the brother of the CEO? What ops and cons does it have?
Yeah, that's something that I get asked quite often, how is it and how does it feel? And I'd like, to be honest, yes, there are pros and cons. I think what you said about the trust, like, is this a person I can rely on? That's something that comes naturally without me having to have done a job for 5 years, for example. So the trust part is there, absolutely. So that is a pro in that sense.
Mm.
And I think that it's funny you mentioned, like, is this someone I could trust? Like, the company is my baby. Is this someone I could trust sitting my baby, for example? And I saw a fun post actually on LinkedIn the other day, where there's a manager who used this way of thinking when he both hired people and promoted people. Okay, is this a person I could trust with my money? Is this a person I could trust with my baby? Is this a person I could trust with my partner? And if you tick those 3 boxes, then the trust was there and the promotion was made. So that's funny. No, but the trust is there, of course. Also, the easier to ventilate and talk about things, of course, since we have that personal relationship. The cons maybe is that you don't want people to see you as like someone who got it for free. So that's something I'm working on every day.
Almost that you need to overperform all the time to live up
Yeah,
to it,
exactly.
because you don't want to get anything for free, right? Or something like that.
No, exactly. I don't want to have that view. And then you put more pressure on yourself. It's sort of like imposter syndrome, but times 2, because I have imposter syndrome normally. So when you add the fact that you're a brother, you become extra much. And then it becomes like the way you described it being your baby. I feel like I have responsibility of the baby as well, So
Yeah. Yeah.
and that can has its cons, of course. Maybe that you overwork, or that you don't, maybe you do an amazing performance, but you don't want to take the credit for it. So that can be a con, of course. But yeah.
Yeah. No, but I understand that. And I remember also when you started and you took on some more responsibilities in the company. I remember it was very important also from the beginning to kind of separate the brother thing and not using it as a funny term or something either, like, oh, saying in the chat, oh, baby brother, or like, you
Yeah.
making fun of it. And because I understood also, of course, like now how you describe it, that you will go in there and you need to kind of almost perform or prove for others that you are your own person and that you deliver by yourself.
Yep.
But you should be proud of that, Martin. You have delivered over 100% all the time, and I think the colleagues see this as well. So everything you have got or created is by yourself, of
Yep.
course, like you said, with coaching and everything. But that should be in every company in a way. So all the performance on your end is like creating your own name, and I think that is also what you have showed and what others sees.
Mm. Mm.
So that
Oh,
is
and
cool. That is a
yeah.
cool. You have created your own results, nothing
Yeah,
for
exactly,
free.
exactly. And I think that's only the right thing to do. Otherwise, you would waste that trust that I get from you and your business partners that I have the opportunity. So I need to make the best out of it, of course.
In our company, we have something very clear. For example, we
Mm.
have something called the career path journey. Like we have something called the belt system where you can tick off boxes of achievements. We
Mm.
have clear career paths when it comes to sales or when it comes to leadership or marketing or finance. If you look into a career path journey, like how do you select a path?
Mm. I'm maybe against selecting,
Yeah,
sort of,
yeah,
because you put expectations on yourself or expectations from people outside, and that doesn't only have to do with your career path, but that can also have to do with your overall life goals, that you have already decided that I'm going to be a doctor or I'm going to be a farmer, or your dad has said you should be a lawyer because we are a lawyer family. So I'm trying to avoid to like select a path in that sense, at least when I think about it myself. But I'm rather starting with trying things out on my own. And then I notice what I find fun, what I find that I'm good at. I don't believe in that you will get a call randomly and you have your life goal set. It's not something that will fall into you. It's something that you need to kind of create also internally when you grow. So I would avoid actually to set like, this is my ideal position that I want to work in. I would rather like start with what you can do now, what you can affect now, start to try things out, and you will then notice what you think is fun. No, but I think actually it's fun to coach colleagues and see other people perform. That's the thing I think is fun. Or no, but I notice I'm very good with the administrative things, so I want to proceed into a back office position in the future. Or no, but I'm super curious about marketing. I love to work like in a creative way. So you start to take on some marketing tasks. That's how I would go about. And then just to try and upskill yourself in those areas. Let's say if you work as a recruiter, for example, and you start to take on some extra responsibilities, for example, in marketing, because
yeah,
you're a curious person, you want to learn it. And then you notice that, okay, no, but marketing was not for me. I've made these social media posts and I've done search engine optimization, but honestly, it's not for me. I want something more fast paced. Yeah, but you will not have wasted those 6 months that you spent on learning these skills because it will help you in other directions of the work.
yeah.
So I would say just try to upskill in all areas, and what you think is really fun and what you're really passionate about, you will naturally go into that. And those other things that you have learned, it would just help you in that path as well.
You studied marketing, you learned a lot of technical things that comes to marketing, and now when you're more in sales and recruitment, you can create all your own
Mm,
material, sales material. You have the technical solutions of how to find prospect leads, how to automate things and stuff, and that came from the marketing part of your
exactly.
career journey, and now you use it in your new roles with sales and leadership and stuff.
Otherwise, yeah, I would never have been able to set those things up without that marketing. But also I remember like when I was maybe 20 years old and it was a matter of like, oh, should I study? What should I do? You get into these thoughts. I remember I wanted to be a copywriter, someone who writes text for sales,
Yeah,
because I thought it was super cool. I had seen on social media. So it didn't came from me, but it came from like external things that, oh, copywriting, that's super cool. And you can earn a lot of money by doing it.
yeah,
But yeah, now I'm really happy I didn't take it because ChatGPT is here and you don't need copywriters anymore. So
exactly.
that was lucky.
But it's tricky, and I think to know exactly. And I think finding out while doing things is the easiest way. And sometimes things happen also without you planning it in a way. I remember even how I went into leadership. And
Yeah.
I was young. I was 22 years old, and I was like coaching on a bandy school. And then the team I played in just decided to like close down. So I was without club. And then one of the parents on the bandy school in Norway asked if I wanted to come and play in Norway.
Mm.
And my ambition was to play in Sweden. That was my goal. I was still 22. And then I was asked, oh, but if you become the player manager. So I had the taste of being a player coach already at 22.
Mm.
And I did like one season in Norway doing that. And then I came back to Sweden to try to build my career again when I was 23. But like I said, I also realized that I would never do it. So when I was 26, then I moved back. And then I had the network in Norway and also
Mm.
tasted a bit how it was to be a coach and also to play in that league.
Mm.
You know, your life can take different turns as well. I think for myself, like you said, striker, I know that I was always going to work somehow with sales,
Yeah.
doing outreach and doing sales. But now it's a very big difference from working with sales and client management. As an example, you think it's the same because it's client connected, but one thing is to get the signature on the paper. The other thing is actually to keep a client happy over time and actually deliver
Mm.
what you sell. And that has been a big part now of my career the last years. And then on top of that, then adding the leadership part as well into sales, business, client
Mm.
management, and doing kind of a 360 of everything in a company. And that's maybe why I am in my role today, and also that I have tested out all the roles on the way. I started with
Exactly.
sales management, then I was operations management, then I was the country manager, and then I started my own business.
Yeah. Oh, exactly. And it might have been completely different. Let's say that you had selected a path when you were there 26. If you say, for example, no, but my goal is to be playing in a top 3 club in Sweden and I want to be the top goal scorer. But yeah, if you select that, like that's the only way things can go, then you like in a passive way, you close the other doors that you don't maybe think about. So it's when you start to try things out that you actually experience growth. And that's also why I think smaller companies, scale ups is a good way to find these things out, because you will be allowed to try more things than you can be at a very corporate company where you only have one work task and it's just about performing that work task against a target. But if you're in a smaller company, you can do that, but you can also, dip your toes in different lakes, so to say.
Yeah. What is it that they say? Like 2 or 3 years in a startup scale up is like 10 years
Yeah,
in a.
exactly. You always double it. You always double it.
Yeah, I think like you also touched on like the skill building part. I think it's always nice to learn new things. You
Mm.
should never stop learning. I think that is the most important part. Like even if you are close to pension, there is always something new to learn that you can use in your toolbox or in your next job or next promotion internally. Yeah, but that you take responsibility of your own career. No one else will make it for you. And I think also don't fake things too much. Like you said,
Mm.
you can instead be totally honest that, yeah, I have been 3 months here in the company. I totally new still on many things. I need to learn many things, but I'm very curious as a person.
Mm.
And I'm a reliable person and I'm a doer. So like if you put in those words, then maybe the opportunity to learn the new things in the new role will come as well. So
Yeah,
um,
exactly. And ask for feedback. That's something that I think everyone should be doing who wants to progress fast, because it's, of course, your manager or colleagues can come to you with feedback from time sometimes. But if you kind of drop your prestige and you accept that, okay, I am not 100% fulfilled on all my different skills, and you go and you actively ask for that feedback, you will get a different kind of feedback as well. Because let's say that I await your feedback all the time, Rickard. I might only hear things when I need to improve something or do some things in a different way. But if I come and I ask, okay, Rickard, I need some feedback here. How can I improve in this area? Then you will get a different sort of coaching. And then don't always see the feedback as like criticism. It's like you have discussed earlier. It's you give feedback because you actually want the person the best and you want them to succeed. So when you get feedback, try to swallow the prestige and to apply the feedback. And then if that doesn't work out, then at least you have your back covered. You have took the feedback, you have applied it, and it didn't work out, or it has worked?
The faster you work with some kind of feedback culture, I think the faster you can grow as an employee as well. And you can take steps fast as well. I think in all kind of things in life, even if it's sport, if it's business, like in a relationship with a partner, whatever it might be, the faster you kind of build that kind of communication channel and trust, and the things can grow, and you can set up goals. Maybe like even with a partner, okay, we want to buy an apartment, but in 2 years we need to save up money, and then the goal is to buy it in Uppsala. But at some point we figure out that we don't want to live in Sweden, we want to go to Barcelona or Spain, Greece, or whatever. And then you have at least saved up money, so then maybe your adventure goes to Greece instead. But you put up a goal, and you worked on certain things, but then you figure out during the way that something turned out to something different. And I think that is the beauty with life in general. I think people also see sometimes, and even more today, if we touch on the part as well, like when is it time to leave a company for your next growth or your next path and so on. I think, of course, when you're a bit stuck in your current job, maybe you don't see other opportunities, or if you want to have this change in life for some reason, that maybe you were in a big company, now you want to be in a fast growing, or vice versa. It can be different reasons. Or today people also do a bit of job jumping also because of salary increase. Even if it's 300 euros per month, people jump, and then they get 300 euros extra this time, and then they jump in 6 months again, and it's another 300. So like in a year, you have increased your salary with 600 euros, for example. And if you are in Spain and earn 2,000, of course, 600 euros has a big impact if you earn 2,600 instead of 2,000. So there's different reasons for it. And you see in sports as well, a striker today scoring 10 goals in Dortmund or Wolfsburg or Eintracht Frankfurt. They sign for Premier League clubs.
Yeah, exactly.
It goes fast today.
And we are happy for that, because then we get jobs to recruit for. So.
Exactly. And it doesn't need to be anything bad regarding those things. Yep. But I think if you want this somehow deeper growth and chance with a promotion, I think it's the same almost in any company, I would say. Even if I work in Google, if I want to be CEO in Google, I think I need to do those 9 years, as I talked about in the band and national team, because I need to build my network within the company. So I know everyone in sales, finance, marketing, admin, in the management team. So I build myself up. I build a relationship. I show that I'm trustworthy. I show that I have different tools in my toolbox. And at some point after 10 years, maybe this role then as a CEO or something C-level pops up. And I think that is harder to jump. Of course, you can jump, but that is with big competition, maybe with others that also apply for that CEO role in the other company. So if you want up on the C level or a very senior level, then it's about many times to build yourself up to that level, or being like headhunted or recommended by someone. But like on entry level up to mid level, then you can do as many almost job jumpings as you want, because then you can just show your track record from the last job, and then you jump for something similar or something a bit above.
Yeah, but it's very true. Very true. Do like a 360 sometimes, or like try different markets, like you say. I know how accounting works now in this company. I know how we work in LATAM, and I also know how we work in Europe. And I've worked with the marketing team, and during these 2 years, I worked with the sales team. So you like upskill yourself in different positions.
It's easier to lead also if you know people in all different departments, because then you can be the chain that build links.
In a way.
Link builder internally. No, but cool, fun topic. Is there some final words, Martin, that you are thinking about now when you summarize this episode?
It's been a great talk overall, and hope that it can help someone to, put perspectives on themselves and their situations. If they feel stuck in the current company, maybe it's time to make the move to a smaller company, for example, or if they don't know what they want to do in their life, what we have discussed now is completely okay. So I hope to summarize it, that we have managed to help someone get a new perspective on things.
A final word from myself as well. Don't be too stressed also for new jobs and stuff. It's okay to be where you are sometimes as well. I think we get a lot of different impacts all the time from things we see in social medias and in LinkedIn and advice and so on. But I think it's, if you're happy somewhere as well, stay where you are happy. Like you said, Martin, the grass is not always greener. Like I learned this myself. Like I said, I was around 26 when I started to have my more first like long-term project going, both work and sport. So I did 3 years in one company and 6 years with one bandit team, and that gave me the opportunity to grow and build trust and create results over time, and I was happy where I was as well. And I think that kind of feeling of being calm and happy in life as well is important, instead of being stressed and always feel something on the inside. But just be in a situation where you are satisfied is also good, and that shouldn't be something negative. Like if someone is happy to work with sales for 20 years or carpenter 20 years or finance 20 years, yeah, but do it then if you're happy with it. But if you're curious and of course need new triggers, of course there's opportunities both inside and outside your organization.
No, exactly. And some final words from me now that you speak about this. But I also think that, because I'm also that sort of a person, like my worst nightmare is that I look in 1 year from now and I see that it's 2nd of November 2026 and I'm exactly in the same position. That's kind of a fear that I have noticed, because then my brain automatically starts to think about things. Oh, I need to move apartment. Oh, I need to move the city that I live in. I need to move country. I need to change job. Then the head starts spinning. How I notice to work with that is to just do smaller changes on the side. Maybe try a new hobby. Try to join a new sports team. Maybe find a new passion or I don't know, cooking, maybe learn a new language, maybe, try out to find a new friend group. Like it can be anything that is not always related to where you live and career, that you can actually change to get some more variety to it, to feel new energy basically. So it doesn't need to be a big job change to start to feel the spark again. It can be something you do on the side.
And also like look back on your last year, like the thing, what have happened the last year. There's so many things that happens in 12 months. And when you start to realize how many like cool things you have been doing in life, both on private and in your job, that is something also to take into consideration as well.
Exactly. It's like if you would speak with 22-year-old Rickard, this is not at all what he expected, but I guess he would be quite satisfied anyway with the journey and so on.
Exactly. Cool. No, but thanks for the talk, Martin. Good episode.
Hopefully a new guest episode here the next time. So I won't give more information than that. I will leave it a little bit secret, and you'll have to find out. So thank you so much for listening, everyone. Any questions? Also, like always, you can email us. And thank you so much for the support.
Thanks. Bye, guys.
Have a good one. Ciao, ciao.
Bye.